A few years ago, I worked as a psychiatric nurse in a mental health facility. One day, I was assigned to care for a patient who had a history of self harm. Since his admission in 1998, he had never spoken to anyone, making my task particularly challenging. Wanting to understand him better, I carefully read through his file before meeting him. What I discovered was deeply unsettling. Authorities had found him at the age of 15 in his family home, surrounded by the lifeless bodies of 6 relatives. He maintained his innocence, insisting that the crime had been committed by his friend, an entity that, according to him, lived within him and communicated with him constantly. During one of our scheduled walks, he suddenly began whispering into his left ear, as if engaged in a conversation. I could make out the words, "Leave me alone." I chose to ignore it and continued walking with him until he suddenly stopped, turned toward me, and gave me the most chilling smile I had ever seen. Then, in a slow, deliberate voice, he said a name, Elena. I instinctively tightened my grip on my clipboard. That was my pregnant wife's name. Trying to stay composed, I casually told him I didn't know anyone by that name, then attempted to redirect the conversation. "Is she your friend?" I asked. He shook his head. "No," he replied, "but my friend wants something she has." Then he lifted his gaze slightly and added, "Ah, he wants to play with Daniel." A cold wave of fear ran through me. Daniel was the name my wife and I had chosen for our unborn son. I wasted no time. I escorted the patient back to his room and immediately submitted my resignation. By the end of the day, I had packed up my belongings and left that job for good.